on analog tape. So I was lucky in that I came here during a time when it was all people all the time in music, and I got one recommendation, and it's like branches of a tree. You guys know this. You get one good recommendation, it leads to 3, 3 leads to 9, 9 leads to 27, and on and on and on, and that's what happened.
But have you not played well on that first one? I'm sorry, Tim, the way the world says no is they don't actually tell you no. What they do is the phone doesn't ring.
Crickets.
Like crickets, we call it, right? Nothing. So, how did you get through that first wicket? How did you, when you went to that session, tell them about the session and how you got them to say yes.
Okay, I was obsessed with soloing as a kid, so when I moved here, I didn't have many rhythm chops, and I just kept my mouth shut and tried to do what I was asked to do, and then tried to start listening to all of this stuff that was on the radio. And luckily, you can enter the game. It's not as severe as you say. Now, if I had ended up in a session with the A-Team in the 80s, I would have been rejected immediately. But luckily, there were lots of lower level, easier places to go. So that's how. I started on a ladder at rung 1, went to 2, 3, 4, and it took me a decade. When I moved to LA, Steve Lukather was fully developed, perfect at everything he did. It took me another decade or 2 to get to that level. Check it out. It wasn't a problem. I worked, I got better, I just happened a little later. So that should inspire you too. It doesn't have to have, some people are amazing out of the gate, other people, like me, took a couple of decades to get there.
So then how did, you had breakfast with me one time at NAMM, and you said, I'm going to try to get permission from the market for being a teacher and influencer on the internet. How did you get permission for that? Okay,
so there were 2 people on YouTube that owned the guitar education space. One was Justin Sanderco, who's a friend of mine, but the other was Marty Schwartz, who was in San Diego. And Marty helped me get on the map on YouTube and kind of told me how to get started. I spent 2 years making the most cringe videos you've ever imagined. Cringe.
I thought I heard you right, but I didn't want to admit it. What do you mean cringe video? What is a cringe? What is a cringe video?
I mean, you're used to playing with people and being cool and being quiet and not talking. Getting in front of a camera and saying, you know, learn this, do that, and by the way, click the link below to add to my email list. It's not intuitive when you are in a cool, you know, culture of musicians behind the scenes in LA. That was hard.
You're good at now saying click the link below.
Yeah, I've learned.
How many times have you said that now?
I say it in every video. You have to get people to try and at least get on your email list so that you can make your living with these.
So how many videos have you done?
About 300, but no, I've done more than that. But it's not the amount of videos, it's really the amount of years I've been doing it, really.
So you're the guy that just never gave up.
That's part of it. I mean, you guys are musicians, you know that you work twice as hard as most people because you're working after work, you're working before work, and you're working on the weekends. So that's all I really did. I just applied it to a new business.
So the way I got in was backwards of that. So why don't you interview me about how I got in?
Okay, I know a little bit about it, but you were a small guitar builder. You had that upstairs shop, right?
Small in height, small in weight, small in ego, small in talent, small in what?
Small in one guitar at a time.
Okay, fair enough. It's funny over here.
Nothing small about you, Paul. Everybody knows that.
No. There's 2 kinds of people. One says, I got nothing to offer. I got nothing to offer. Now you come with me. I got nothing. Brent Mason. Now you sit in that chair and don't move. I'll pay you double scale. Don't move, right? I got nothing to offer. I got nothing. Maybe you do. That's person 1. Person 2. I got nothing to offer. I got nothing. You got nothing. You can shut up. No, really, me. I can help. I can. Shut up. I'm in group 2. For me, it was kings like Carlos Santana who did not give one rat's ass about what anybody else thought, only what he thought. Dennis Chambers is a king. When he plays with us, he doesn't care what anybody else told him. He makes his own analysis. John Mayer is a king. He's making his own analysis. And for me, when I would run into these people at really high level that didn't care what they were told, only what they experienced and had their analysis, then I was okay. Then I had a chance. And so to me, when we came to NAMM and we got the orders and we shipped them, that wasn't the problem. Getting permission from the market is whether did they reorder. I mean, how many times you get an initial order and you ship them out and then it's crickets, right? I mean, crickets is dangerous.
Well, I don't know if you all know how he did this. He would literally go into the parking lot when a concert came to town with the guitar, stand outside of security and try and get somebody to convince the artist or the guitar player to try one of his guitars. I couldn't have done that, but he did it, and it worked. Somebody would take pity on him or would be interested in the guitar, or he would show the guitar, and the person he was talking to, the tech, right?
Take pity on me?
Well,
Did you just say that? Take pity on that little skinny pip.
I'm just saying, these were humble beginnings. It wasn't.
Look, I'll tell you a story you don't know.
Okay.
The truck for Santana drives up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to go into the Capitol Center. And the driver comes out of the car, and I said, I'm a guitar maker. And he looks at me, and I walked over, I opened the case, and he looked in the case, goes up into the cab, grabs the stage pass from the night before, puts it on me, and hits me as hard as he can to glue it on, and said, come with me. I mean,
Wow.
that wasn't taking pity. He had made a decision that maybe his boss wanted to see that thing. Now, Carlos Santana, when I met him, he goes, looks like a piece of candy, because it was red. And I was like, he goes, I don't know. So he takes me in the back and he starts to play it, and the more he plays it, the more he likes it. And he goes, you play? Oh, no, that scared the shit out of me. And I backed up against the wall. And he goes, he plays it more, he goes, you play, let's play. That was one of the, what'd you call it, a cringe video?
Cringe moment.
Cringe moment that if I play in my house is still bad. He felt so bad for me how scared he was. He put his arm around me and we went up on the stage and watched the Romantic Warrior get played by...
No, but you could play. I have a video of him. You could play.
Okay, fine, but at that time, playing rhythm guitar for Carlos Santana, you're that scared, the shit's out of time, it's out of tune, and it's a disaster. Anyway, eventually I was able to get an order from him 3 years later. But, you know, I never gave up. For me, if I didn't try, I would feel worse dying that I hadn't tried than if I hadn't tried, I would have said, well, I could have tried, and that seemed like a painful death for me. For me to say I gave it everything I had and I failed would have been easier than not trying. There's an assessment that I've seen so many people die. When I talked to Forrest White, who was the production manager for Leo Fender, when he was dying, he had one question: how'd I do? When Tim McCartney was dying, how did I do? They want to know how they did. It's really, really important to them. And to me, I didn't want to go through that moment and go, I could have tried, but I didn't really give a shit. It was not going to be good. So to me, I needed to get people to have an emotionally positive response to what they were holding. Otherwise, they weren't ever going to give me money. Same thing for you. If they don't have a positive emotional response, they're not going to sign up as one of your subscribers. If they don't have a positive emotional response to what you played, one time there were 30 studio guitar players in a room in Nashville at SIR. And they took me aside and said, we don't play your guitars, Paul, we get fired. And I looked at them and I went, you're out of your mind. And they said, no, we're not. I said, why? What are you talking about? He says, if the guitar is not in tune with the vocal after they tune it, we get fired. And you're the only guitarist that we know for sure will play in tune when